All right, guys, welcome in. We are live with Steve Tingwall from Columbia Hobby. How you doing, Steve?
Doing awesome. How you doing?
Doing good. So my heading for this was great guy in the hobby. I just hate him for his height. When I got a bear hug from Steve a couple years ago at Nationals, I felt like a child. I'm not saying it was a bad thing.
Yeah. I was wondering when I was going to see you again. It's going to be Nationals this year, isn't it?
Yeah, so you heading out to the show this year?
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't miss it.
Nice. Yeah, we're going to be there. We're going to bring the big fella. He had so much fun in Wisconsin. I said we got to bring him to Chicago. So he's looking forward to it. Good deal. So ColumbiaHobby.com. That's on our website. Supplies. You've got the shop as well. How long have you been around the hobby? Just kind of a quick, I don't want to drag it out too much. I just want to kind of get a little of your backstory. Steve's one of the few guys I actually bounce ideas off of when I was still breaking and had questions. He's been doing this for a lot longer than me. So what's kind of like your backstory in the hobby, Steve?
I mean, gosh, I've been collecting since '79, a little while, but got serious about it probably, I don't know, late '90s.
I was -7 in '79 for the record, but that's okay.
Yeah, thanks for that
one. You're welcome. Yep. So how long you get the shop out? Shop is, are you in, I always forget state. You're in Washington, right?
Yeah. I'm right on the state line. I mean, Portland's right behind my shoulder there.
Nice.
So nice thing is it's not on fire today, so we have a clear sky.
Yeah, not a bad view. Sheesh.
Yeah, it's a little fun. But yeah. Been running the shop for 10 years now. Columbia Hobby's been around for a little while longer than that.
Nice. So we, our big thing is we try to push people to the website as far as supplies, kind of the services and things you offer. You want to give us a minute on that?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, we pretty much are full service. Manufacture all the cardboard boxes here across the river in Oregon. We have Ultra Pro Cardboard Gold, Pro Mold, kind of a full selection of all their supplies all the way through.
One of the few places you can actually buy top loaders still too.
Yeah, we've been fortunate. I'm pretty tight with the owner of Cardboard Gold, and kind of convinced him to order out. And once he kind of saw where things were going, he just kind of loaded the factory up, and it's worked out really good.
Yeah, man, that seems like, I mean, honestly, like wax is tough to get a hold of, but supplies, I don't ever remember being a 6-month back order for my distributors for top loaders. It's ridiculous.
It's crazy. I mean, there's very few factories that can make the top loaders. First of all, I mean, you've got one factory that makes for Cardboard Gold and Ultra Pro, and that's the only companies they make for. Another factory that makes for BCW and a couple others, and then there's some of the generics out there that are a little scary because they're using reclaimed stuff. But that's it. Everything's made in China, and once the demand hit, the capacity just got taken up. I mean, Cardboard Gold right now, we put an order in for top loaders. We're putting an order in for July of next year. I mean, we're booked that far out right now. But we've got a lot coming. I think we got, 40, 50 containers coming between now and then. So it's going to keep rolling in.
Yeah. Like I said, ColumbiaHobby.com. That's the reason I'm happy to. I mean, obviously, I like having you as a sponsor of the show, but just having you on there too, because it's hard to find a place to direct people. So make sure you check that out. The link is on our website on sportscardsnonsense.com. You can find it there. That's why we talk about them on the podcast and the group. Now let's just cut down to it. The real subject, because that's the tough thing to balance on the show. Obviously, I've been around the hobby. It's my full-time thing for a while. Jesse's a novice, which I like, but I don't ever actually get to bounce it off somebody who's as involved or more involved in your case than I am in the hobby. So, we're talking about the market. Everybody's, you get people panicked about the market. My thing has been, and I'm sure you've heard me say this time and time again, market's correct. There's dips, there's ebbs and flows. Where do you stand just kind of on the general state of the market, the single side, I guess, right now?
I'm not worried about it. I mean, when you've been doing this for a while, you kind of see there's cyclical patterns. Things always die right before Memorial Day. I mean, that's just kind of what it is. It always dips. I think it's a little more pronounced now because people are so focused on it. And obviously the prices are a lot higher. It doesn't help that we got a lot of these yahoos on YouTube that actually act like they know what they're talking about and start pumping things up. And then when the market doesn't follow what they say, it's doom and gloom. But early summer, it's just the market's always soft for basketball. I mean, baseball right now is on fire. It's not dropping at all, but that's predictable. But yeah, basketball, especially the modern stuff. We had the same thing a couple of years ago. You could have bought Luka on a dip and really scored on it. Last year we had the same thing with the Zion stuff, and then once fall hit, it just went nuts. We'll see a bounce. I mean, whether it goes as high as it was, I'm always conservative as far as that goes. I'm not going to just go crazy and say, hey, jump in now and you're going to make loads of money. But we're not done. We're not done by any means.
Yeah, I actually thought it was a good thing. I told Jesse I would actually be nervous. I've been pretty confident all along, but I did say if we don't see any movement on individual playoff spikes, even just a little bit, I was like, man, it could be a sign. But like Tatum shot up after the play-in. Ja Morant's been the biggest mover. I mean, the fact that his Prism 10s are going for $300 again, I think is an awesome sign. And Luka's clipping 1,000, but if that dude clips the Clippers, I mean.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Man, what a freak. I mean, that's not a bad sign. So the weirdest thing to me, and I'm curious what you think about it, the football market. I've never seen this hot of an offseason in the NFL. I've been doing this about 8 years now, like actually in it. I've never seen this offseason football like it is.
That draft, I don't think could have worked any better. I mean, last year was awesome. I mean, hands down, it was one of our best football seasons ever. But this year coming up is going to be once in a century type of thing. I mean, it's going to be as good as it gets. I mean, back in 2013, I remember, we had, Wilson and Luck and Griffin, and that was a good year. We got 5 quarterbacks now in the first 15, and that just the quarterbacks would drive the market.
Yeah, and Trevor's just next level. Not in football, I've never seen as much hype around anybody. I mean, Burrow last year was big. This seems like it's twice as big. I mean, it's stupid.
I mean, when's the last time you've seen Jacksonville where people are actually excited for? I mean, you got Trevor and crappy nigga, got Tebow thrown in the mix too. So
it is weird, man. Tebow's so polarizing, and Trevor came out today. He was like, no one works harder than this guy already. He came in great shape. I have a feeling there's just going to be this weird cult following with Tebow, which
that hasn't changed.
Yeah, exactly. But I do think it's funny. Like off season, I was preaching for a while, like, hey, I'm grabbing Joe Burrow and Tua like in June, right before it ramps up. I feel like stuff has already taken off. Like I just have never seen stuff take off. I guess the draft class helps, but like even just veteran stuff, it's like off season there was no dip. If anything, it was like this fear of missing out. People were like, no, we're just going to get in early.
Yeah, well, and those two guys specifically too. I mean, their teams drafted good for them. I mean, Tua's got a new target, and that's going to help them a ton. I mean, that was one of their weaknesses last year in Miami.
Yeah.
Burrow's got a little protection, which obviously is something he needed. So.
Yeah, I do. So are you a Niners guy being out west?
No, I'm a Cowboys guy, unfortunately.
That's why we don't talk about. Okay, why we don't talk about football?
Yeah, no, I hear it in the shop all the time because honestly, out west we get it's all Niners and Seahawks out here. I mean, I'm halfway in between.
I got you. Okay, yeah, and then they said the Niners today may not be in a destination for Julio, which would be. Yeah, I don't know who starts at quarterback, but you add Julio to that mix. That's not a bad team either.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, what do you think about Rodgers? I mean, where is you think he's staying? You think he's going? He's
such a puke. I'm so sick of him. I can't stand Aaron Rodgers. I think he's super talented. I just don't like him. I don't like guys who get like that vocal. And it's easy for me to say because I was raised like a Brady fan, so it's easy for me to be critical of everybody. But I do hate that. Like if you want to, and I'm not saying they've been good to him, but I just can't imagine him getting traded. I know he's saying he's not going to play. I would be absolutely shocked. Like him, Russell Wilson, why would you ever trade those type of guys?
Exactly.
It just seems nuts to me. But hey, so I see that. I know now the Dodgers. I do remember that part about you. What's Bellinger's timeline?
They're telling me. Well, not telling me. Yeah, they're telling me specifically.
Did you talk to Cody?
Actually, I ran into him a couple weeks ago.
Did you really?
I got a photo and everything. It was pretty. He was. They were up playing the Mariners, and he was signing some autographs, and I happened to have tickets by the dugout, and walked over to him, and I'm like, "Hey, how about a pick?" And it was all good.
Nice.
But no, they're saying 2 or 3 weeks. I guess he hit a home run last night and on rehab, so he's getting there.
Yeah, I got to think he's coming up. The other LA dude who I haven't had a chance to talk about, I guess some of this is teaser for tomorrow. You've been following Joe Adell at all?
Oh yeah, the Angels.
My goodness, that dude's got like 6 home runs in the last 10 games or something ridiculous. He's killing it. The next Mike Trout.
Dude, we had back when we were allowed to do conferences, the Tops conference a couple of years ago. He was the guy that we got to all meet and stuff. And
oh, really?
That is a big boy. I mean, he's just stacked too.
I like that kid. I was high on him at the beginning of the season, and he kind of got hurt and just had like a bad spring, so it was like, eh. And then Mookie, we get a lot of questions to the show about Mookie. I think he's super talented. I just think there are like stretches, like 3-week stretches where I forget he's in the league.
Yeah, well, the last few weeks, really. I mean, he's I don't know. The Dodgers just needed they needed somebody to point him how to win, though, and I think he's that guy. I mean, he'll have the numbers at the end of the year, but he's not going to be a consistent day in and day out guy, I don't think.
Now, what about Gavin Lux? Because Gavin Lux, to me, seems cheap. I don't know how great he's going to be. I do think there's room for him on his market. What do you think about him?
So Seager goes down, and they moved Lex over to shortstop, which is his natural position.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
Coincidentally, I mean, he's been on fire the last week and a half.
Because he
I mean, ever
started
since he got
off
moved to
brutally
shortstop.
slow.
Oh, and last year, yeah, he was looking just awful at the plate. I figured the Dodgers made another mistake hyping the guy, and now all of a sudden the guy's hits what 2 grand slams in a week, and he I don't know. It makes you wonder if Seager's going to be around for the long term because he's in a contract year now too. So
Oh, yeah, and he's going to get paid. I would imagine someone's paying him big bucks. What's he, like 26? I mean, he's got to be young still, 28.
yeah, exactly. I mean,
If
he's
that-
right in his prime, but again, the Dodgers can only pay so many people too.
Yeah, well, I mean, I keep hearing that. I don't know. Man, every year those dudes spend so much money. They make the Yankees of the early 2000s look like Walmart. Like, it's ridiculous how much money.
It's interesting. It's interesting. I was reading that Otani's free agent year. The only person they have on the books at that point is Bellinger, and now they're starting a rumor that the Dodgers might go after Otani then.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I saw that today. That's who knows? I mean, I guess if all you have on the books is Bellinger at that point, you can build your team from scratch if you want. But you got Otani and Bellinger on the same team. That's all right.
I thought Otani was going to break down 2 weeks ago. Like, I thought we'd get 2 or 3 weeks. He'd be super exciting, and I figured like a month into the season he'd be done. But maybe not. Maybe the kid's going to make it. I mean, they're not strictly managing his time, which is cool.
Yeah, no, I think they've kind of let him loose. And I mean, they got to do something. I mean, the team is so god awful to watch. I mean, at least if you get Otani out there, people are watching a little bit.
That is so brutal. Like, I don't understand how you don't like. The fact that Trout is not in the postseason ever is just ridiculous to me. Junie, by the way, he did have a question for you. Do you offer B2B wholesale?
You know, obviously, I'm getting that question quite frequently right now since
Sure.
we're one of the few that have top loaders. But we're kind of limiting on how many people we're bringing in at the moment, mainly because there's only so much to go around. I mean,
Sure.
they've fallen off the face of the earth. I don't know what the heck is happening with their back orders. Ultra Pro, we're starting to see a little more of their stuff, but honestly, it's cardboard gold right now. And there's only, again, if I'm getting 2 containers a month, that still only lasts so far right now.
Now, just to put in perspective, because guys have asked, like, hey, has it always been this tough to get stuff? And I say, no, it used to be way easier. So, like, you're getting 2 a month. What was like a normal month back in the day?
A container lasts us 2 months, one container per 2 months, and containers 2,400 cases.
Okay. So you're going through that much now in a month.
I could burn through 4 cases right now, honestly, with the demand. It's crazy.
That is stupid. Jeez.
Yeah.
Now, what about like magnetics, all the other stuff? Penny sleeves, is everything tough to get? I'm retired, Steve. I don't know anymore.
No, and you're right. I mean, honestly, it's all tough to get. I mean, if we didn't make our own cardboard across the river, we wouldn't have boxes either. I mean, again, I hate to bring up BCW, but I don't really care. They're out of stock on cardboard all the time too, and outside of us and BCW, there's nobody else making the cardboard right now, really.
Right.
So, I mean, fortunately, I have an endless supply with that, but all the supplies are like this right now. I mean, magnetics, they're getting a little better. I mean, Ultra Pro uses a different factory for those, and I think they're able to satisfy demand a little better. Soft sleeves are just as bad. I mean, when I'm going on Amazon and I'm seeing a case of Ultra Pro soft sleeves selling for $250, I mean, that tells you something right there.
Well, that's like guys from the Dallas show were like, oh, I just got some top loaders, $7 a pack, $8 a pack, $9 a pack. I'm just thinking, which I'm not saying the price gouging. It seems like that's kind of the going rate. I know you can get them cheaper with you, but like,
well, I mean, you can, but still, it's all relative at the same time. I mean, if I put them too cheap, prices have gone up a little bit. I mean, there's definitely that. I mean, not to the extent that we're seeing. I mean, our cost is a little higher. I mean, China freight and materials, wages over there are a little higher, but again, obviously, it's not anywhere near what we're selling it for.
Sure.
But you know, I put the stuff at say $100 a case. I mean, I'll be completely sold out in a day because everybody's going to flip them, and that's kind of what we're seeing. I mean, Ultra Pro top loaders again going to that $350 a case on Amazon right now, and that's the going rate.
Good God. I mean, those used to be, I'm trying to think like when I opened my account, like with the distribution, like $48 a case.
It's exactly.
I mean, and you probably remember them cheaper than that back. I mean, before I even started, I'm sure, but like,
right.
It is wild. And then wax.
I mean, what we have, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
I mean, what we're running into right now is, you know, the distributors, they're allocating to the shops. So they're letting us buy as a shop owner, you know, 1 case a month or whatever. And they're selling it to us for $100. I mean, and then if you want more, you got to find them from a different source because just the distributors are not getting it from Ultra Pro right now at all.
Yeah. So let me ask you too, because I kind of like the unique perspective. You've got the shop. What like foot traffic over the past year and a half? Like, do you see more just foot traffic, more interest? What are you seeing like on the shop side of things?
It's been fun. I mean, the shop has been hopping. I mean, basketball has gotten ridiculous last year. I mean, you had Gary Vee on a little bit while ago, and I mean, he moves the needle. Um, Pokemon, that's been crazy.
Oh, still, huh?
It still is. I mean,
Really?
it's going to be a little interesting once PSA starts firing things up again, because a lot of what was driving the Pokemon were the graders and the flippers and that sort of thing, and we'll start
Sure.
seeing some of the cards coming out in the next couple months. But again, I don't think I'm as pessimistic as some of these people are, where they're thinking like, oh, we got 10 million cards, you can hit the market in the next 2 months and the market's going to suck. I don't see that. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, so just to that point, like I talked to Sloan again the other day. They're doing 25,000 cards a day. I think they work 5 days a week. It's 125,000 a week. There's not even 30 weeks left in the year, or there's maybe 30 weeks left in the year. Like that's a couple million. It's not 10, and that's over the course of the year, and that's going to slow down when they open back up. I'm with you. That whole flood. And now, having said that, I've been saying for a while that I'm not planning on holding a ton of base past the next 12 months. But in the short term period, like if you told me I could buy a bunch of Bellinger Topps Update PSA 10s, I don't care how many. I don't care what the population is. I would buy 1 million of those right now because I think he's going to come back and hit home runs and spike. Like,
right.
I still think we see interim spikes, but yeah, the shops here, same thing. We got a couple local shops, and they're just, I mean, new people coming in with boxes they haven't heard. I mean, hey, I just heard baseball cards are hot, which is amazing to me. A year and a half after things really spiked, like people are still just hearing about it. But
I mean, even the junk wax. I mean, that stuff.
Yeah,
we're getting cases of 88 and 89, 90, and that stuff you couldn't get away for $5 a box a couple of years ago, and now it's fetching 30, 40, 50 a box, sometimes $100 a box, depending on which one it is. And that one doesn't make any sense to me, but I'll go with it. It's all good.
Yeah, and this has all happened like the last even this dip, because it's been 2-3 months now. We've been in a decline. It is funny, all the social media guys are gone.
Oh my gosh.
Yet it's still the floor is still so much higher than it's ever been. Like Gary Vee has been all about the NFT thing. We've reached out a number of times. I know other people have too. He hasn't said anything about cards in months. But around Nationals, which I know he's going to, like that's going to blow up. We're going to do a live show with Simmons at Nationals. That's going to be a big.
Nice.
I just think, and that is the one trend this year that seemed consistent. The 2 month out from Nationals slowdown. Like breaks used to get unbelievably slow for like these 2 months. So I'm kind of like, maybe some of this just coincides with that as well,
I think so. And I mean, you mentioned Gary Vee. I mean, he's got something that he's running Wednesday afternoon at Nationals too, like at 1:00 or something.
Oh, really? I didn't see that. Okay.
Yeah, make sure you get their early action. Change my flight to Tuesday so I can catch it.
Maybe he's gonna
see what he has to say.
He's gonna doodle on a napkin, sell it to us. Be sweet.
Yeah. See, there you go.
I'm gonna make a Jesse NFT. I told him we're just gonna put his face on a shirt. It says "I love cards." NFT. Boom. It is a weird time.
So much fun with that guy. It's hilarious.
Oh, I've enjoyed having him on just because it is. I think it's cool to have a total just novice, coming in like this, because he'll say the same thing. Like some of the stuff he'll look at, he's like, I don't know anything about this space, and even I can look at this particular thing, and like it doesn't make sense. So I don't know, kind of just along for the ride at this point. But anyways, hey Steve, I appreciate. I don't want to keep you on all afternoon, guys. Good, make sure. Hey, that's why we pump up Steve. I've known Steve for years now. Steve's always been good to me. We hear the reviews from you too. That's why we keep reaching out to have you keep sponsoring. ColumbiaHobby.com. You can hit up Steve on Facebook. He's got the shop. Now you do grading at the shop too, Steve, right? Are you still doing subs there or no?
Once PSA fires up again, we will.
Okay.
With one of the top submitters in the country, we've partnered up with him. And of course, we partnered with him just before PSA shut down. So I'm looking forward to moving with that pretty quick.
Is he on the website or is there somebody else who I can't talk about?
He's not on the website yet.
Okay.
And I care. So, I mean, if you want to talk about him or not, I mean, I can give you the information. But this guy, he's got like 8 guys working for him, and all they do is submit to PSA. That's their business.
Oh,
I mean, it's insane the amount of cards he moves through. But I figure one of those things that I'll partner up with somebody that probably knows how to do that better than I can, and so I'm not going to pretend. Let's just go with that.
Yeah. Hey, I always say if you can offer more services, why not? Seems to make sense. So
it's card shop. You gotta.
Yeah, and you're still moving a ton of wax there, singles, everything else like normal. I'm sure that's ramped up.
That hasn't slowed down. That hasn't slowed down at all. I'm not even seeing much of a dip in the prices. That's been ridiculous.
That is crazy. Hey, did you get any top sterling today? I was trying to chase some of that down.
I did, and actually I cracked one today. That's going to be a good product. I mean, it's I love the format of that one. It's really cool.
Just 2 cards. Is it still just 1 card per mini box, so 2 per box, and it's like a
Yes,
themed?
that's exactly what it is. You
I
got 2 mini
love that
boxes in there,
product.
and then it tells you what's on the outside. I pulled a Willie Mays 101 today, so that was kind of cool.
Auto?
No, it was 2 relics, but again, it
Sheesh.
was pretty fun.
That's got to be huge money, though.
Yeah, I'm guessing 14, 15 maybe. We'll see.
Good grief. I do like that product. That's one of the few. So what are those going for this year? They got to be over 1,000. I'm sure. I haven't even looked.
It's right about 1,000 right now is where it came out. I think that's going to go up a little next week, but it seems like honestly any product is going up in week 2 right now. I mean, there's some things behind the scenes that are driving those prices. So anytime anybody wants to buy sealed wax, buy it week of release, because week 2 it's almost always going up.
Yeah. Yeah, I have heard some guys be like, man, my basketball wax is cheaper now than it was 3 months ago. I say, yeah, baseball is not basketball. Basketball traditionally has stayed high, but this year's class, it's tough when you're in the middle of playoffs and no one is relevant from the rookie class. But yeah, Topps baseball, it doesn't have the same ceiling as like Prism basketball or NT basketball. Anything Topps baseball, you throw on your shelf, you just leave it. I just don't know how you lose money. So
well, and if anybody knows that's you. I mean, you were Mr. Bowman back in the day.
Yeah, back in then when you could walk in and order 78 cases on your first order. Now, I opened my account back up just to rebuy off the list because I told Eddie, hey, every once in a while it'd be cool to rip a box like on the page or whatever. I was like, just to be curious, like if I come back in now, I have a good relationship with you guys, like it doesn't matter. Like the fact that we opened the account was the favor. Most places, I mean, at this point, they straight up told me like we didn't know you, and then I have a seller account to them too, which helps. Otherwise, it was like we're not even taking new accounts. I mean,
anybody new, forget it. It's impossible to break into it, and I mean, you have to pay so much money and buy so much garbage just to even get in the game. Yeah. It's a tough one.
Yep. So, hey, anyways, glad to see some of us old guys are still sticking around doing it. So, good deal. Well, hey, I appreciate you jumping on for a little bit. Like I said, I'm going to do it one more time. ColumbiaHobby.com. Make sure you check out Steve and his shop out west. He's been good to me for years. The guys here who have used him know he's a good dude. Shipping's always on par. Fair pricing. So, Steve, we appreciate you supporting the podcast, too. This was kind of out of left field. So, it's been
absolutely
awesome to have you on board, man. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Have a good afternoon, buddy.
See ya.